Hey, I have an idea. How about we don't defund the police? Instead, we arrest legislatures for election fraud. On June 10th, 2020, I'm Rob Ryder, aka Robert Allen Ratluski. That's my full legal name. But it's really that simple, right? We don't have to have, we don't have to have 9 members of the Minneapolis City Council, a veto-proof majority, say they'll start the process of defunding and dismantling the police department. Right? They can say that today, but tomorrow, if he was to watch his video, right, the police chief of Minneapolis could just walk into their office and arrest all their asses because they've all committed election fraud. And by that, I mean they haven't taken a proper oath of office. So they didn't qualify for their office. And with a little bit of research, you'll see all this shit's written in your state's laws. Right? I'm going to be using Michigan's as the example, but, I'm sure you guys can find it. And it's pretty plainly written. It's either written in the election law or it's written in federal law saying this is the oath that you need to take to satisfy the 6th Article of the Constitution. Can you believe it? They actually wrote a law that said, hey, this is the oath you need to take. It was the first law written after the Constitution was ratified. So this is a federal level, state, local, because really local is the state. It's just a political subdivision of the state, but it's still the state. It goes all the way from the president down to the dog catcher. School board, health board, any kind of board, any elected people that had to be elected to their office, right, through an election, is included. And none of them had done this. I've been at this a while, police chief and sheriff. So I'm really hoping if you're watching this video and you know anybody on the force, right, I don't care if he's a deputy or what. Just have them look at it and see if they get their chief to look at it. And, we can get this figured out in a hurry because you can just start arresting them. I'll show you, let me show you the proof. So it doesn't just include, the local city board. It's the governor, the attorney general, the county prosecutor, the secretary of state, the senators that go to Washington, and the state senators, the representatives that go to Washington, and the state representatives, the county commissioners, the township supervisor, the township board, the school board, the dog catcher, whoever is elected. Right? Now, it also applies to, this oath applies to everybody who wants to claim authority, so it does apply to people who are appointed, like the police. So first, you got to remove the plank from your own eye. Any person claiming authority under the Constitution of the United States must first execute this oath. Are you ready? I, Robert Allen Ratluski, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Period. No other oath, no other words, nothing added, nothing subtracted. And in the AB, you need to use your full legal name. The name that's on a driver's license, right? That's their identity. And so until that's been done, well, then nobody has any authority under the United States. And that's exactly what the problem is. We keep talking about America. We're supposed to be in the United States. There's two different venues. You got United States and United States of America. United States of America is a dominion of King George III and his successors. It's been that way since the Treaty of Peace, 1783. Right? The United States is supposed to be the government between that entity, United States of America, and this other one called the United States of America that was created under the Articles of Confederation. And they're supposed to be governed by the United States government. Right? Well, what they did in the United States of America, because these are the schemers from England, these are the schemers from England. They have gotten all of us into their venue, United States of America, and they won't let us out. And they keep acting like we're doing things under the Constitution and da-da-da. But it's all pretend. There isn't anything they do that's done properly. It's all smoke and mirrors. And I'll show you some examples of that. But, for right now, I'm just telling you, if you haven't taken this oath and you have not satisfied the 6th Article of the Constitution, therefore you have no authority in the United States. And so those people in Minneapolis, Minnesota, City Council need to leave their fucking office today. In Seattle, they just turned over the City Hall to the fucking protesters. right? Stop that shit. Go get them fuckers out and, don't be giving the stuff up. Okay, hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Robert Allen Ratluski, U.S. Army veteran. You can call me Rob Ryder. If you want to contact me after this, it's quarterrecord@AOL.com or 616-712-6179. So let's just go through a few things that, are truisms, and then we'll move on to where the proof is. So in the 6th article of the Constitution, it's got 3 different sections, like 3 paragraphs. I guess this is the 3rd paragraph. It says, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Now, did you know when you send representatives to D.C., when they get there, they take an oath that has a religious test? They say, so help me God. So they did not comply with the 6th article of the Constitution. There doesn't need to be any other reason. That's what it is. So from the top down, they're not taking the proper oaths of office. Now, the smallest democracy is a trinity, right? So it's a supermajority of 2/3, which is 666, which is what they have us stuck in right now. Well, that's what they keep talking about, the democracy, right? Well, it's not working out well for us. Because what's happened is if there was a judicial branch and a legislative branch, they've combined together against the executive branch, which the executive branch is the branch that represents the people. Right? So when the executive branch, the people, applies for an arrest warrant from the judicial branch pertaining to election fraud by the legislative branch, all public officers, and the judicial believes there is a probable cause and issues a warrant, well, the police will no longer need to be concerned about being defunded. You need to go ask for an arrest warrant for election fraud. Chief, sheriff, simple. Right? This is simple. Just go do it. First you need to go take your own oath, get this done, get it done right, and carry on. Now the sheriff, right, that's a constitutional office, and the sheriff in England, which our laws is based on, he had a court. And so I know police have courts. I know the sheriff's got a court. They never talk about them. But I'm sure the sheriff and the police chief know they have a court. Well, you can take into that court because the elected judges, they're supposed to be in the judicial branch, they also failed to qualify. They didn't take 4 U.S.C. 101 and a number of other things. And so the chief of police, the sheriff, may have to use their police court until further notice, and then you'll no longer be concerned with the funding. Right? Whatever court, whatever competent tribunal there is where you need to go to get the document, whatever you're going to call it, to have them arrested. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you can do it warrantless arrest, right? It's going to have been done in your sight when you go look at the papers and say, well, they don't have this oath of office. Well, there you are. You can go arrest them, right? You have cognizance of the crime. So anyways, all claiming any office for public trust under the United States have failed to qualify until they execute this oath that's in 4 U.S.C. 101. I state your name, do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States. It's also found in 1 Stat 23, 1 Statutes at Large, page 23, Section 1, right? This is the first law passed after the ratification of the Constitution. And it says in there, this is the oath you have to take to satisfy the 6th article. So let's not argue about it. Let's just go do it. So, chief, sheriff, in Michigan, if I went to the Michigan election law, which is MCL 168-941, peace officers' duty to initiate proceedings, I would read that it is hereby made the duty of any police, sheriff, or other peace officer present and having knowledge of any violation of any provision of this act to forthwith institute criminal proceedings for the punishment of such offender. So what we're going to find is that none of these people have a thing called a certificate of election that has any value. I don't think they even have them, but if they do, it doesn't have any value because it won't have been in their full legal name and it won't have the elements on it that it needs to have. Beyond that, they haven't taken the oath of office, right? So they haven't qualified for the office. So then under the Michigan Penal Code, which is MCL 752-17C, legal process, impersonation, false representation, or an action as a public officer or employee, it says a person shall not impersonate, falsely represent himself or herself or falsely act as a public officer or public employee and prepare, issue, serve, execute, or otherwise act to further the operation of any legal process or unauthorized process that affects the purport to affect the persons or property. So Gretchen Esther Whitmer, who failed to qualify as the governor of Michigan under the assumed name Gretchen Whitmer, issued allegedly executive orders of a governor locking everybody down in their house in Michigan. That's an act of terrorism. See my last videos. I'll tell you all about it. Okay, so there you are, right? Now all we need to do is, well, let's go look and see if they have the papers they're supposed to have according to the election code and see if they did it right. If not, start arresting. You can figure it out tomorrow. First arrest them, book them, get all that done so they can never run again. And whoever comes in next is going to have to do it right. Going to hold elections, put people in, they're going to follow the law, and we're going to watch them. And see, this is where veterans will get involved, right? We'll watch their ass. We got a few things we need to get you to straighten out for us. But, you won't have to worry about it, man. Us veterans will be on it like dog on a good bone. Okay, so what's going on then? If you went to my YouTube site, Rob Ryder, with 3 B's, R-O-B-B-B-R-Y-D-E-R, you'll see that I've done a number of videos on a lot of issues having to do with this kind of stuff here. But if you went back to governor, I'm not judging you, I'm prosecuting, right, and went forward. It's really all the kind of stuff we're talking about right now. I just can't go through all of it in depth right now. But if you want more, there it is. Or if you're a chief or a sheriff, fucking call me. We'll get her all figured out. Now, because this is the crazy stuff that's going on. This is the crazy stuff that's going on. You got Minneapolis that's going to, have you seen the people that run Minneapolis are a bunch of kids? Right? They're freaking children. So, hang on. There's something slowing me down here. Let me get this all straightened out. Okay, so this happened in a little town just down the road from me, Lowell, Michigan, where the Lowell police chief was forced to resign just days after a controversial Facebook post that supported 4 young men who had armed themselves against potential protesters. So, Chief Stephen Bucala. Well, he's not anymore. And what is it? What did the man say that was so inflammatory? Well, this is what he wrote. So these fine young men called me today. They wanted to exercise their Second Amendment rights and walk down Main Street. They saw what happened in Grand Rapids. They said, it's not going to happen here. We have your backs. I thanked them for letting me know they were in town and to call them and to call if they needed something or if they see something. That's what the man wrote. And the city council, who aren't properly elected, kicked this ass out. So, like I said, this guy's really close to me. I might try to, just contact him myself, but I'm sure he's bombarded with shit right now. Right? So, I don't have any credentials, right? I'm a nobody, right? I have all the information. I have absolutely no authority. So, let me show you another one. This is the Seattle cop, right, that tells fellow officers not to enforce stay-at-home orders. Now he's on leave, right? Greg Anderson. There was a video out. I don't know if everybody saw it, but right, law enforcement for 10 years. He's saying, what did he say? I've seen officers nationwide enforcing tyrannic orders against the people. Anderson said in the video, I want to remind you, regardless of where you stand on the coronavirus, we don't have any authority to do those things to people just because a mayor or governor tells you otherwise. We don't get to violate people's constitutional rights because someone in our chain of command tells us otherwise. It's not how this country works, and he's absolutely right. But they're doing it anyways. People who usurping an elected office are telling those who serve their country and their cities and their states, right, they have you out here, violating people's rights. Now, they're helped by attorneys, right? Because them fucktards, all them fucktards, they don't use their full legal name ever. Right? It's a scheme, man. There isn't any court that's a state court. These people take you to a fake court, and they have fake court proceedings, and they don't use their full legal name. The judge doesn't use his. The attorney doesn't use theirs. The clerk doesn't use theirs. They don't use yours. They don't use the right name for the plaintiff. All you need to do is look at these names and say, well, that isn't their name. Right? It's really simple. Just look at a damn court case and say, well, they're not using their full legal name. Well, then it's not legal. That's why it's called a legal name. You need to use it in legal matters. So, welcome to America. Right? So, I don't know if I said this before. I got to say it again because I had to start this once. I was a little bit jacked up on this first time around. There's two venues. United States, there's the United States of America under the Articles of Confederation, and United States of America, that's actually a kingdom of King George III and his successors. Right? It's British. He said so in the Treaty of Peace in 1783, and it wasn't ever contested. United States of America is his. Now, United States of America and the United States of America are coexisting in the same territory, right? Because there's only so much ground in the world, under a thing called the Constitution. And so what United States of America did, the schemers, is they got all of us to be stuck in their frickin' venue. If you want proof, look at a passport. It says United States of America on it. Now go look at a dollar bill, $5 bill, $10, $20. It says the United States of America on it. They're two different venues. Right? We're not in the United States right now. They've taken us to, they've shanghaied us to this frickin' parallel jurisdiction. And they're making sure that there's nobody in the United States to enforce the Constitution, because to do it, you have to take the oath that satisfies the 6th article. So it's a scheme, right? It's all smoke and mirrors. And all you need to do to bust the scheme is take the damn oath. So I'll show you a little bit more of that here right now. Hang on. Okay, so here's some proofs, right? If you need proof, here you go. Here's Public Law 102.14, March 20th, 1991. To designate March 26, 1991 as Education Day USA. Whereas the Congress recognizes historical tradition and ethical values and principles which are the basis of civilized society and upon which our great nation was founded, whereas these ethical values and principles have been the bedrock of society from the dawn of civilization when they were known as the 7 Noahide laws, and we really don't need to go any further. The Congress and Bush Sr. are telling you the nation is governed by the Noahide laws. Everybody know what the Noahide laws are, right? They're the basis of Talmudic law. One of those Noahide laws is to have courts of justice. If you really look close at paperwork, they tell you they're taking you to a court of justice. They don't say it's a court of law or a court of equity. They call it a court of justice. That's a fucking Noahide law court. Okay, well, in that court, if you're not a Jew, right, if you claim to be a Christian or a Muslim, well, then you're committing a blasphemy. Right, because Jews don't believe that Jesus is God, so Christians, brother, you are out of luck. Right? And all this was brought forward. I mean, just go read that letter from the Archbishop Vigano that he sent to the president the other week. He's talking about the people of the light, the children of light, being at a disadvantage morally. It's because everything's being governed under the Noahide laws. Whereas the ethical values and principles have been the bedrock of society from the dawn of civilization when they were known as the Noahide laws. There's one other place it's mentioned here. Where the hell was that at? Okay. Whereas in tribute to the great spiritual leader, the Rebbe, this is 90th year, will be seen as one of the education and giving, the year in which we turn to educate and charity to return the world to the moral and ethical values contained in the 7 Noahide laws. Shit's been going on since 1991. Right? And they still are passing this fucking, or the president's issuing a proclamation every year. Right? Whereas reflected in the International Scroll of Honor signed by the President of the United States, other heads, da-da-da-da. Where did it say they want the guided? President is requested to issue a proclamation calling for the people of the United States to observe such day with appropriate ceremonies and activities. So there's the scheme, right? We're under the Noahide laws, whether you like it or not. Now, you want to bust out of that, right? You want to bust out of the nation of America, where that shit is the law, and you want to go to the United States, where you're protected under the Constitution, then the people that want to do that need to, this may be for electors too, so I don't know. But for sure, anybody in the executive branch needs to take this oath. This is Title IV, United States Code, flag and seal, seat of government, and the states, right? GPO, got the little seal. This is as official as it can be. It's like having a certified copy. There it says right here. Right here. Every member of a state legislature and every executive or judicial officer of a state shall, before he proceeds to execute the duties of his office. When? Before he executes the duties of his office. Take an oath in the following form, to wit. I state your name, do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States. Period. All right, now who can administer it? Well, you guys figure it out and tell me. Where are you going to put them? After you do it, where are you going to have them? Where can we go find the public record of everybody who's taken this oath that wants to claim authority under the United States? Chief, sheriff, right? You tell me. So this is where it is today. This is in 4 U.S.C. 101. But it started way back here, way back in the day on, what is it, June 1st, 1789. An act to regulate the time and manner of administering certain oaths, being enacted by the Senate and, why do they put brackets, House of, right? Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, right? So these are King George's people. That the oath or affirmation required by the 6th article of the Constitution of the United States shall be administered in the following form. A, B, to solemnly swear or affirm I will support the Constitution of the United States, period. All right? Why are we doing that? Well, required by the 6th article of the Constitution. That's why you're doing it. This oath, the said oath or affirmation shall be administered within 3 days after passing this act. And then it goes on and on and on. It tells you it's not just in the, not just the president, not just the Senate, not just the Congress. No, it goes all the way down the states. All the officers, all officers appointed or hereafter to be appointed under the authority of the United States shall, before they act in their respective office, take the same oath or affirmation, which shall be administered by persons who shall be authorized by law to administer such officers their respective oaths. Right? That's all. That's you. Sheriff, or not the sheriff, police chief. Sheriff, you're an elected officer. You got to do it because you're an elected officer. You're an elected executive officer under the Constitution. Okay, so, hey, this, we're going right through them now. This is easy stuff. Let's look at the Real ID Act real quick. All right, this is the act that talks about your full legal name. Or it talks about the reason for doing this thing. So, subparts A through E of this part apply to states and U.S. territories that choose to issue driver's licenses and identification cards that can be accepted by federal agencies for official purposes. Okay, then it tells you what you need to have on it, and one of the things you need to have is your full legal name, and they're nice enough to define it for us. Means an individual's first name, middle names, last names, or surname without use of initials or nicknames. You cannot use an initial. You cannot use a nickname. Right? I can't call myself Bob Ritluski. I can't call myself Robert Ritluski. Right? Those are nicknames. My full legal name is Robert Allen Ritluski. Now, I don't have a middle name. Right? I have a given name. And so I never, I'm dumbass like everybody else. I used to say Allen was my middle name. But no, that's just my first name. Robert Allen is my first name. Therefore, I never have a middle name, never have a middle initial. You should think about doing the same. Right? Don't be signing with a fucking middle initial. Or don't be identifying yourself with a middle initial. If you want to scribble something that you're X and it has a middle initial, that's different. But you need to be identified in your full legal name. And I'm talking to cops. You guys know this stuff, right? So they haven't done it. Now, here's the oath. This is in Title V United States Code that most of the Pop-Tarts that come out of D.C., right, federal officers are supposed to take. And what does it say? Right? IAB to solemnly swear affirm I'll support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Well, they already fucked up. They didn't do it the way it said in 1 Stat 23. Right? It has to be support, period. If you want to do that other stuff, also that's separate. But I, Robert Allen Orlowski, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, period. But they went on and on and on without mental reservations. That really sounds great. So help me God. Well, that, my friends, is what you'd call a religious test. Now notice it says this section does not affect other oaths required by law, which is one of 1 Stat 23. Okay, they want you to take this one, fine, but you still need to do 1 Stat 23. So they're not hiding the fact that they're doing it wrong. We're just not challenging them on the fact that they're doing it wrong. Here's an example. This is the congressional record for this current House of Representatives. Right? Now, they're supposed to do this within, a couple days of being elected. So this all should have been done like the first Tuesday after, I think it'd be like January 3rd. We're looking at January 17th. That's the first time they talked about oaths in the congressional record. And in there, after an adjournment, right? So now we're shut down for the day. Going to open up tomorrow on Friday, right? See you tomorrow, Friday, January 18th at 10:30 a.m. Well, before Friday, 10:30 a.m., somebody stuck this in where it says oath of office, members, resident, commissioners, and delegates. And here's the oath they say they're taking and, where it comes from. And, they're happy to say, well, this is what we're supposed to do. There's so help me God. Right? And then you look and you see, well, there's a middle initial. And, I'm sure that's not that person's full legal name. And, well, that's not that person's full legal name. He's using a middle initial. And, well, this guy's got a nickname stuck in the middle of his name. Right? This is what's on their oath. Now, they won't show you these oaths. I tried to get them. They say, no, those things are under lock and key for 30 years. So, C.A. Dutch never has to show us paperwork. Chief, sheriff, you want to know what's wrong in America? You're looking at it. So quit, letting these fuckers tell you what to do. Go arrest their ass because they don't have any authority. Very good. Okay. Give me just a minute here and we'll look at a few more things and we'll be done. Hang on. Okay, so beyond not having that oath, so the question is, well, where is that oath supposed to be? Right? Well, it's supposed to be with whoever handles elections for the county or whatever, right? So, county clerk. Could be the Secretary of State. Could be the city clerk. I don't know, right? But whoever handles election stuff. They're supposed to have them. Right? So, everybody who's been elected has to have the oath from 4 USC 101. And we're talking state level because that's where the police chiefs and the sheriffs are. Right? That's you guys. Right? Go talk to the city clerk, see what they got. City clerk's probably elected too, so you're going to have to arrest her at the same time, but, make sure you get her keys. So this is the Michigan election law, and I'm just going to search on certificate of election, because as you'll find out, when somebody's been elected, they're supposed to get the certificate, right? So ask them for their certificate of election. Right? This is the presidential electors. Right? The people that are going to say, we're going to go vote for whomever, right? As the presidential electors, they got to have a certificate of election. I think we should really be looking close this next election cycle to make sure that they do. And that they've taken the proper oath, because they must have to take an oath too. They're taking an office, right? That's an elected office. Governor, lieutenant governor, certificate of election. So let's see what it says to do. So the Secretary of State shall file in his office and preserve the original statement and determination of the Board of State Canvassers of the result of the election and shall forthwith execute and cause to be delivered to the person thereby declared to be elected to the office of governor and lieutenant governor certificates of election certified by him under the Great Seal of the state. So I've tried to get these from the Secretary of State. Of course, they said, no, we haven't. We gave them, we gave them. You can see what it says, right? They gave them to the person. But they're still supposed to have a logbook, right? Because these are certificates. They got numbers on them, right? So everyone would have a certification number, certificate number that ties to some notary style book where they're going to write in that they did this one and they sent it to whoever, right? The record that it was done is with the Secretary of State. And if the Secretary of State doesn't have it, then it ain't been done. And the person pretending to be the governor is pretending to be the governor. They don't have any authority. So what happens then? Well, it's you could have it under impeachment, but you really can't impeach them. They were never the governor, right? So it really falls under this: office of governor, lieutenant governor, vacancy, death or failure to qualify of governor-elect or lieutenant governor-elect, devolution of powers and duties, right? If they didn't do it because they failed to qualify, because that's what they did, they failed to qualify, then whatever needs to be done is in this section right here. Okay, so it's, and it's just not them. You got the Secretary of State and the Attorney General are supposed to have a certificate of election. All right, the Secretary of State shall file in his office and preserve the original statements and determinations of the Board of State canvassers. So on them documents, if they have them there, well, it needs to have these people full legal name on it. The name that's on their driver's license, real ID driver's license, little gold star up there in the right-hand corner, it better be the name on the document or they're concealing their identity, and that document isn't an original document of some kind. It's a counterfeit. Right? It's a fucking felony. United States Senator. Oh, hey, they got to have one too. Representatives in Congress. Well, they got to have one. All right, Secretary of State shall file. Shall, right? So they have these things called the original statement and determination of the Board of State canvassers, as you can see for these offices we've looked at so far. And it's with the Secretary of State. So where are they? They're not going to have them. State senators. Hey, they got to have one too. Where's that one got to go? Secretary of State or county clerk shall file in his office or her office and preserve the original statement and determination. Now, how can it be the Secretary of State or the county clerk? Right? But that's what they say, either or. So, maybe you have to put those two in the cell together, in a holding cell, and let them work it out. County officers, certificate of election. Well, that just took care of, that'd be the county. That'd be you, Sheriff. I think you'd be a county officer. I think the clerk would be a county officer. I think, the Board of Commissioners would be county officers. The county auditor, he's got to have one. The road commissioners, they have to have one. You guys got some work to do, Chief. All right, you're going to be busy tomorrow running around, so who's got them? The State Board of Education and boards of state universities, they have to have one. It must be important, right? So how come we're not making sure they have them? County canvassers, well, by God, let me see what this say. Preserving final execution. The county clerk, who is secretary of the board of a county canvassing the school board election, shall immediately execute and provide to the individuals declared elected to the office of school board member a certificate of election. Right? Every school board, every member has to have a certificate of election. And they have to have in this case, they got to have an acceptance of office. Now, I don't know how come these other ones don't say acceptance of office, but that's normally the thing. You need to accept the office. So what's the proof? Well, for the local school board, they have to have this acceptance of office also. So it's important that they do, Sheriff, Chief. Right? We don't have that many things to look at. I'd be happy to do it. I just need a little authority. Statement of return, certificate, metropolitan district, whatever the hell that is. They got to have one. Supreme Court justices, hey, I wonder if they got one. The appeals court judges, same thing. I wonder if they have a certificate of election in their full legal name. Because there'd be a lot of people have to be let out of jail if that's proved to be different. So then you're going to have to charge them, Chief, in your court. I mean, you have to let them go. Actually, if they're in jail, properly done, because all these other people don't have any authority, they had you do the arrest, and they used your court. Appeals judges, I think we already said them. They got to have one. Hey, it's circuit court judges. Well, 17th Circuit here in Kent County. You guys have a certificate of election? I believe I've asked before, and I'm still waiting to see one. Municipal court judges, certificate of election. That'd be like here, the Michigan district courts. No, they don't have one. Probate judges, no, they don't have one either. But they're supposed to. See, probate judge, certificate of election by Board of County Canvassers. They actually got to have two. Look, here's another one. Probate judge, a certificate of election by the county clerk. There we are, district court judges. Certificate of election. So it's pretty easy to see. Where's the certificate of election? Where's the record? Where's the full legal name? Where's the oath that satisfies 4 USC 101? And then where's the oath that satisfies the Michigan Constitution? They're not written the same. They're not written the same on purpose or purposely. So they both, you have to have two of them. Okay, one more second here. All right, so really quickly, just on this letter, because it had so much powerful stuff in it, right? June 7th, 2020, which, hey, that was just a few days ago. Holy Trinity Sunday. By Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, former Apostolic Nuncio to the United States of America. Right? To King George's jurisdiction. But that's here, right? And now, the other way, see, there's two ways this can be. You can have something called United States of America, that be its title. Or you can have these two terms that are combined with this coupler word of, right? Where it's United States, and then the word of, and then America. Right? But not something called United States of America. Well, that's what King George did. He called it United States of America. Anyways, when this guy wrote this weekend, an open letter to President Trump, he said, in recent months, we have been witnessing the formation of two opposing sides that I would call biblical. The children of light and children of the dark. The children of light constitute the most conspicuous part of humanity, while the children of darkness represent an absolute minority. And yet the former are the object of a sort of discrimination, which places them in a situation of moral inferiority with respect to their adversaries. Well, how could that be? If we're the children of the light, how can we have a moral inferiority to the children of the dark? Under the Noahide laws. That's how. So there you are, right? And, this minority thing, if you listen to that demon-possessed governor of Chicago, you see that woman, her eyes are bugging out her head. She must have a legion stuck inside her. A legion of demons. Her eyes are popping out. Lightfoot. She said she only needs 3 people to run the show in every agency, right? The director, the deputy, and the attorney and the inspector general. If she can fill those 3 offices with people who pledge allegiance to the New World Order, well, that's all she needs to run the show. Right? That's a couple weeks ago. She did a tweet on it. Or it was, it ended up on the Q tweets or whatever. But, so how does this stuff look in real life? Okay, well, here's a thing that's supposed to be the oath of office then for a county prosecutor in the county of Kalkaska, state of Michigan. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of prosecuting attorney, the office of prosecuting attorney for Kalkaska, according to the best of my ability. Michael L. Peralt. He used a middle initial. And it doesn't have his name. There's no I, right? Full legal name in here, so even if this was an oath he had to take, because they said you got to take this oath, he still had to take the oath for for USC 101. Hasn't done it. But this is, really close to being the oath that's in the Michigan Constitution, but the difference is that the C is capitalized. And on a lot of them, you'll see the S is also capitalized, right? So these are, a word that's capitalized has a different definition than a word that is a common noun, uncapitalized. And in the Constitution of Michigan, this C isn't capitalized. It's just lowercase Constitution of this state, right? So the Constitution of the United States then is the Constitution of the state also. The state of Michigan, right? That's the name of the entity that was created in 1835 by the style and title shall be known as the state of Michigan. It has the same Constitution as the United States. But this jurisdiction doesn't, because this dude isn't using his full legal name. And neither did the person pretending to be a judge. She didn't use her full legal name. So, when this guy ran for the office of prosecutor, and now in this particular case, now he wanted to run for the office of probate judge, he had to fill out an affidavit of identity, which is a requirement in Michigan. You want to run for an office, you got to file an affidavit of identity. And here's his candidate's identification. Name, and then under it's got last, first, middle. Now, myself, I wasn't paying attention to that shit because that's not, it's in parentheses. I don't care. It said name. My name's Robert Allen Retluski. If these were boxes and had last name, first name, middle name in the box, well, I'd do it. But these aren't boxes. It's just a line that asks for the name. This is a scheme, right? Gets you to put your name backwards. But as you can see, he's not using any initials. Even if this, even if this is proper, it still isn't the name that he used on his oath of office. And it doesn't say I with Michael Lee Orion Peralt on it. So, that's just an example of how fucked up it is. Right? Just go. So where do you get this? You get this from the county clerk's office, and every county has these oaths, right? So he's the election commissioner or the election officer for the county, and they'll give them to you. It's no big deal. They have more. Here's another one. Right, this is supposed to be for the county clerk. I do solemnly swear or affirm I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution. See, now it's capitalized Constitution of this state, and I will faithfully perform the duties of the office of in and for the county of Kent, state of Michigan, according to the best of my ability. Well, none of this shit here is in the Constitution, right? This in and for, that isn't in there. It doesn't have her name after I, so it's wrong, and she's a dual last name person, right? But she's got a middle name too, I'm sure. How do you find out? We'll ask to see her driver's license and see what's on it. And so basically, back to full legal name. If you've never gone down and had a legal name change done, court legal name change, then your legal name, full legal name, is the name on your birth record. I don't care if it's in all caps or proper case or whatever, right? Whatever's on there, Robert Allen Retluski, that is your full legal name. Now, they don't ever want to use it in court, and they don't use it like on your warranty deed or on any insurance policies. They'll put Robert A. Retluski, a single man, or some other deviation where they're going to take your person, strip you of your person, turn you into a thing, and add some words to show that you've been turned into a thing. Robert A. Retluski, a single man, is not the same as Robert Allen Retluski, the person. Right? Robert A. Retluski, a single man, would be considered like an assumed name, or DBA. And if you're going to use an assumed name or a DBA in business, in Michigan, you have to go down to the county and register it. Well, nobody does that shit. Yep, we're signing stuff, Robert A. Retluski, whatever they put on there, sign it to it. So it's all this shit is done to us by attorneys. Right? They're the ones drawing up all these documents. It's fucking evil as hell, man. That's all I can tell you. All right, so this one is wrong. This is supposed to be for my county commissioner. You know, so the sheriff of Kent County should go take his proper oath of office and go into the commissioner's office and arrest them all. We looked at this one, right? Oh, that's a guy, yeah, not full legal name, not full legal name. I doesn't have his name in there. All sorts of wrong. Right? P. William O'Grady, that's not his name, right? His name isn't P. William O'Grady. Can't use an initial. This isn't the same. This one's wrong, right? Got shit added to it. Doesn't have the full legal name after the word I. That's the first giveaway, right? Just look, you only got to go one letter into the oath to know if it's right or not, because after the word I had better be their full legal name, or whatever they gave you isn't what you're looking for first, which is the oath to satisfy 4 U.S.C. 101, because that's the oath that says you have to have done before you can use any of the power of your office in the state. Wrong. But I just want to show you one other one. Right, this is how evil these people are. Shove it in your face, right? This is supposed to be like the Great Seal of Michigan. It's got an elk on one side and a moose on the other. Well, look, the freaking moose is looking over his back. He's not looking at the shield. All right, P. William O'Grady, Circuit Court Judge. I wonder how many people he's put in jail. Kirk A. Karashin, he's supposed to be the probate judge. I wonder how many people's estates he's keeping hid from them. Right? Arrest these people, please. But one more. I do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of governor according to the best of my ability. Gretchen Whitmer. Right? That's not her full legal name. So she's concealing her full legal name, which makes this a counterfeit. But it doesn't have I. State your name. So I've sent a complaint about this particular oath to God knows how many places, and I've done a number of videos on it in the last month and a half, ever since Governor, I'm not judging you, I'm prosecuting. Took it to the state police, took it to the frickin' Homeland Security Police, took it to the DNR police, I've taken it to the Army, I've taken it to the Michigan Catholic League, I've taken it to the Supreme Court Justices. You know, what's a man to do? If you want to get the dirt on all these people, just investigate the email address robryder, ROBBRYDER, at AOL.com, going into any .gov website and see who it's gone to. Because I sent all sorts of emails to people. I'm always putting them on record, right? That was my duty, right? I'm going to go tell the Pharisee the truth. I'm going to go plant that seed, and someday I'm going to be able to collect. What's time to collect? Right? Throw them all out, please, right? Because this shit that we're dealing with, like this, right? There's Pelosi and all these other, whatever. Everybody thinks they're doing this for, some guy that was murdered in Minneapolis, but it wasn't a racial murder. It was a hit because he was all sorts of fucked up and he was trying to pass counterfeit bills. Right? Well, here they are. Now, what they don't show you in this picture is what they're looking at, which is this statue of ISIS. That's what they're all kneeling to. This is a statue of ISIS that's in the Capitol. This fucking thing shouldn't be in the Capitol. What the hell is a statue of ISIS doing in our Capitol? Right? If we're going to be throwing shit into the river, start with that. What else do I have on here? Oh, yeah. Oh, the Obamas, right? I believe that their hand is not over their heart. And you notice that Michelle's got a man's index finger, right? Or pointer. That's right. Michelle's a man. I think most people know that, but if you didn't, she's a man, or he's a man. Now this brother, he found this Addison Drake and Son slave collar. And look what's in the corner. I believe that'd be a Masonic symbol. Well, there it is. That's So I don't know why any black man would ever go join the Masons, and any white man that is a Mason had better get your ass out of the Masons, or according to the Archbishop, your asses are going to hell. Right? He's blaming all this on the Masons. Right? Solve et coagula, which is like dissolve and rebuild, or dissolve and reform. That's what they want to do. Dissolve what we have now, reform it in their image. That's what they've done all over the world. All these different, they're really good at it, got lots of practice, and now they've come to us. Right? And what they don't know is that I know they ain't got the oath for USC 101, and therefore the police chief can arrest their ass. And we don't have to have a reason. They don't get to talk to the, right? They don't get to talk to the media anymore, and the media will start spinning around little circles. They won't know what to do. All their talking point people will be gone. Right? Masonic ideas. I'm telling you, if you're a Catholic or you're a Christian, which Catholics are, but you guys like to separate them, so whatever, and you're a Mason, you need to know when the Mason becomes a Shriner, they take an oath on the Quran. True fact. Right? So let's keep these things in mind. Go back and look at some more of these pictures I have here. These are interesting. Where are those? Right? So here's Trump. He's kneeling and praying in a Catholic shrine. He gets all sorts of bitched out by the Catholics about it. Not by Catholics, but by the false shepherds talked about in this open record, which is really what this letter was about, was Archbishop Vigano telling Trump that, look, man, we got false shepherds in the, there's a deep state and there's a deep church, right? And the Washington, D.C. Archbishop is in the deep church. And he's not alone. And Catholics would like to have him gone just as much as anybody else would. So here's the answer, right? Lord, mama, my mama, mixing hand sanitizer and holy oil, killing germs and demons at the same time. Can we please, who's ever listening, if you're going into any public building, start anointing all the doorways. Go bless some oil, start anointing doorways, door handles, whatever. Every door, every handle, anoint it, and chase the demons out of them fucking buildings. And please go pull this damn statue out of here. And, well, like I said, you can throw it in the river for all I care. But, you know, somebody may want to have it in their museum. All right, here's my governor, right? This is the woman that has had us locked down since March. Well, she's not the governor because, as you can see, she doesn't have an oath of office. And she's out here without a mask on. And then she went back in and told us all we still had to have our mask on. And said, well, I didn't have my mask off. Well, I didn't hug anybody. All right, this is, you know, she wanted her show day. So now that she's had it, give her another one. Give her a perp walk out of Lansing. Right? The city chief of Lansing can go arrest her ass. The city police chief in Lansing can go arrest her because she violated the election law. A Texas politician says Floyd death was a staged event. Apparently this guy wasn't as nice as they say he was. Now, if it was racially motivated, how come there's 4 different races involved? You got a white guy, black guy, Oriental guy. Well, one of these two is supposed to be Hispanic. You tell me, right? I can't really tell. Really, there's hardly any difference in any of their colors, right? But there's 4 different races there. So what about George? Floyd and Chauvin, which is the guy on his neck, worked at some rodeo club together. The club was used for trafficking of women and children brought in from Mexico. It also laundered counterfeit money. Floyd had been stealing the bills, flashing money around. Chauvin was directed to perform a hit on Floyd During the protest, the club was burnt to the ground. The police station where the evidence was stored was burned. The mayor of Minneapolis was involved, ordered police to stand down and not defend the station. Well, arrest him because he's not the mayor. You know, the mayor doesn't run the city. That's run by the city manager. We don't need to have these people there. They don't do anything except write more laws to burden the rest of us. They don't need to be there. Arrest them. Right? There's not a one of them that has proper oath of office. And then all that, you know, confetti paper they made, all this counterfeit debt system they have us in will evaporate. Well, I'm afraid it's going to take the police. You guys are the only ones that can do it. Right? I've tried to get the Army to do it. They ain't doing it. Right? So I don't want to defund you. I want you to go arrest the legislatures for election fraud. And by legislatures, I mean anybody who's been elected. And if you need to go to D.C. to bring them back, so be it. Call D.C., tell them to arrest the senators and the representatives in D.C. and hold them. And, you know, send, I don't know, like a moving van or throw them all in the back and drive back. It's a plan. Okay, that's what I had to tell y'all. Please share this with any sheriff, deputy, police chief, member of the police force, whoever it is, right? And this stuff could all start being fixed tomorrow. All you need to do is arrest them for violating the election law because, well, that's one, and for USC 101, which is a federal law, which the city police get to enforce, right? That's one of your duties is to enforce the federal law. Well, it says they have to have this oath before they have any authority. So go throw them in a holding cell, and we'll figure it all out later, and let's see what the news has to say then. Okay, everybody, God bless, and we keep trying. Well, right now is the time. Either we go into 1,000 years of darkness or 1,000 years of light. Right? The 1,000-year reign of Christ gets started tomorrow. Chief, be a hero. We're counting on you.